We're just going to get everyone nice and comfy. So welcome. Really awesome to have you guys here tonight. This is by far one of my favorite webinars to deliver. So I'm really excited to share this one with all of you. Rach, can you confirm that you can hear and see me okay and we're all good, please? Just give me a little thumbs up. Also, let me know if you can see the screen okay. Having a few little glitchy issues with the slide deck, but hopefully we're okay. I can't actually see both you guys and the slides at the same time, which is all fun and games. So being that we can't disconnect that chat box, it makes life a little bit tricky. I think it might be something we're just going to have to roll with. I'm not quite sure why it's different tonight, why it's doing that, but it is what it is. So we'll just go through and hope that it's all fine. So, Rach, if you can just let me know that you can hear, that would be really great, so that I know that we're all good to go. Hope everyone's had a really awesome day. It's certainly been a bit crazy here, but I'm really excited to be with you guys. So this is awesome. All right, I'm going to update this up so I can see what we've got. Hey, Sharon. Hi, Celia. Celia's back in. How are you? Hey, June. Hi, Kath. Hi, Francis. So, guys, if you have just joined us and you can hear and see okay, if you can jump into that chat box, just let me know we're all good. For those of you that were on last night, you're aware we're testing out brand new technology. It certainly played some interesting technical challenges for us last night. So fingers crossed we're all good tonight. So I'm just going to, hey, Kath, how are you? So, guys, hey, Janita, how are you? Awesome. Hi, Russell. So good to see you all in here. That's brilliant. So, guys, first of all, welcome on in. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and taking the time out. For some of you guys, this has been 2 nights in a row. For some of you, it might have been 3 days in a row if you're with Norwex. So, some of you guys have certainly had probably enough of Sam by the end of this week. I know I have. So thanks for joining me and putting up with me. And I'm excited to share this one with you guys. I was just saying, this is probably one of my favorite webinars to deliver because it covers off on some of the most important fundamental things that we need to do on Facebook to make it work. And honestly, this is the training that has got the most game-changing results for people that have actually applied some of the stuff I've taught in this webinar. So I'm really excited to share this one with you guys. So if you have just jumped in, what I'd love you to do for me right now is I want you guys to tell me whereabouts you are joining me from. And I'd also like to know as well, what sort of company you guys are with, like what products do you sell, what business do you have? I know some of you guys really well, but this new platform that we're using is in fact one that allows you guys to see each other's comments. So being that we're all here to support each other, I would love for you guys to jump on in. Tell us all where you're from, what company you've got, what products you sell, and let's share with each other while we're waiting for everyone to get in. Yes, Francis, this top may look very familiar. It is brand new. It's my new Posty Let Me Check shirt, and I love it. Seriously, guys, I spruik all of your products. But the new Posty clothes they look really smart, but they are so comfortable. And this shirt is like soft and stretchy. And normally when I'm in shirts, I feel really restricted. But I love these clothes. They are amazing. I think, oh look. I don't know if you recognize this one. I have also got my, just in case I get cold, my Posty scarf. So I'm all set. For those Senegence people that are in here, I've got one of my favorite beautiful, amazing, does not come off Senegence lippies on. I've got my Norwex cleaning cloth here just to make sure that my lens on my camera is nice and clean. So I'm set, guys. I've got my Larev candle up behind me. So I'm all over it. Cool. Welcome. Hey, Russell, how are you? With Juice Plus. And of course, I've got my Juice Plus drink bottle. So I nearly left you guys out, didn't I? I'm sorry. Francis, are the new releases out? I need to see them. Actually, I probably shouldn't. My credit card's had enough of a workout. Maybe you need to run a party for me, Francis. So I have invite me to a party. I'm not allowed to run any more parties. I've been banned. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. If you've just jumped in, make sure you get over to that chat box. Let us know whereabouts in the world you're calling in from, and also what company you're with, what products you sell. We want to know who we've got in here today. Yes, and of course I've got 2 Thermomixes, but they're not in the office. That's one thing I couldn't drag down. We got the Thermomixes up in the kitchen. I have a problem, don't I? Oh dear. All right. I just love you guys so much and I want to support you. Now, that segues me into this post you can see up on the screen. So for those of you that have been paying attention, on our Facebook page this afternoon, I put a video up on the feed. I'm actually going to teach a little bit of this today, so it will tie in later on in this webinar. But I put a Facebook Live up earlier this afternoon in my other posty top. Doing well. Talking about supporting each other. Now, for those of you that have been watching and been involved, you would know that over the last month, I have been invited to and attended I think it's 57. I've even got a party book where I've kept all of the notes. 57 virtual parties that include many of you guys. I know lots of you guys have invited me to your parties. That offer still stands. If you haven't had me attend one of your virtual parties or events yet, please do so. I would love to attend. I will give you guys some feedback if you want it, and I'll buy a product as well, but you have to follow me up. That's one thing I will say. I've had a lot of people not follow me up. I won't chase you. You got to chase me. So what I have decided to do is we're going to do a party swap. I know lots of you guys are so supportive of each other as well. And so as part of that, I want you guys to support each other and make sure that if you would like to be connected with a new network of people that you've never been connected to before, if you would like to run a party for someone you've never run a party for and meet some new potential customers, etc., I want you to comment on this post you see on the screen. It's on our Oxana marketing page. I want you to tell me what your product is and what sort of a product you would love to host a party for. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a party hosted for you and you're going to host a party for someone else. You'll get to learn about a different company, a different product. Now, why are we doing this? Yes, to support each other financially, but more importantly, to learn and gain some experience and knowledge. And we're going to learn from each other because all of you guys are doing such an amazing job at running parties and you've all got very different ways of doing it. So I want you to see each other and how you operate because you will all learn things from each other. I know I've seen you guys out there in action, and I want you to see each other in action and introduce each other to your own networks. So I want you guys, if you're really keen, if you want to get a party booking from someone else and you'd love to host a party for someone, comment on that post that you'll see on our Oxana marketing page. I've got everyone on a spreadsheet and I am connecting all of you guys. So if you tell me you want to do makeup or you want to learn about the amazing Senegence lipstick that I keep going on about, then I'll connect you with a Senegence person so you can learn about it with your own party. If you want to learn about Norwex, an amazing chemical-free cleaning, or whatever it is, we'll connect you. So comment on it on that post. Don't comment in here. Comment on that post on Facebook and we will hook you guys up. All right. That's not why we're here though. So I am going to move all of you commenting over there, over to the other screen so I can see what I'm doing. I don't know why it won't let me see this on the same middle screen. I need Greg in here. Dear, oh dear. I can hear him out there changing the oil. All right. I'll call him in if I get seriously stuck. So thanks, guys, for joining us today. We are testing some new technology. It's going okay. I would love to get your feedback. For those of you that have done a webinar with us, actually, that's a really good point. Who in here has done a webinar with us before and who's brand new? Who's watching me for the very first time? I would love to know if we've got some newbies in here, some fresh meat, if you like. Give me a little heads up if you've never done one of our webinars before. Everyone that has, I want your feedback on this new platform because we are testing this technology to see what it's like. And we want to know, do you prefer it more than the old one? Do you like seeing everyone's comments? Would you prefer not to? Give me a little bit of a heads up there. That'd be great. All right. So, that says Janita. We've got a few old hats in here, but I appreciate you guys very much. All right. Well, let's get into it because we've got some serious stuff to get through today. This is going to take around about 60 to 90 minutes, depending on how quickly we get through it. But what I would really like you guys to do is I want you to, this is the office where I'm sitting right now. My kids put a beautiful little sign on the door. I thought you guys would appreciate that. But what I would like you to do is switch off all distractions. Right now I'm going to flick my phone over so I can't see it. I've got my emails turned off. I've got no notifications coming up on my phone, on my computer. And I'd like you guys to do the same because right now we're about to go through some pretty full-on information that absolutely will be game-changing for your business. So I really want you guys to give me your time. You've committed to doing that tonight. I know you might have kids floating around. It's a little bit hard to stay completely focused, but all those things you can control, don't relinquish to self-sabotage here, guys. Focus for the next hour to an hour and a half because some of these things, just the tiniest little thing, could make a really big difference to you in your business, and I don't want you to miss out on that. I'd also like you to stick around with me till the end. We've got some really awesome bits and pieces we're going to be giving away today to help you out with. And I'd also like to know who in here tonight is already in our online training, who's in our Quick Start or our Accelerator membership. And who's never done any online learning with us before? I know we've got a few people that have never done any of our webinars in here. I saw those comments come up. But I'd love to know who's in our courses, who's not in our courses. The reason I ask is we're going to give you guys heaps and heaps of amazing free information today. You're going to be able to take this stuff, apply it in your business, and get some awesome things to happen for you. You don't need to pay us to get value out of today's session. But I want to be really upfront with you guys because, of course, we also have a business to run. And as part of that, although we love giving you guys value, if at the end of today you really feel like you can connect with me, you would like to learn more from me, we have some incredible online courses that we've created for those of you that really want to take your social media and your business seriously and have us work alongside of you. Like I said, you don't need to do these trainings. You can do free stuff with this if you want to. But if you want to dive deep, you really want to take it to that next stage, I would love to do some further learning with you. And I'm going to give you guys an opportunity at the end to do some of that with us. So hang in there. And we've got an awesome offer available this week that we're going to tell you all about. And for those of you that have done stuff with us before, we've got something very exciting that we've been very busily recording to launch to you very soon. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. That's for the existing quick starters. So watch this space. I'm not saying any more. Now, I know we've got some new people in here right now, so I really want to tell you guys quickly a little bit about who we are, just so that you know where we've come from and what we're up to. I'm Sam, and I'm going to be delivering your training tonight. In the picture here, you see my husband and business partner, Greg. Together, we have got the business Oxana Marketing. Now, Oxana is a Greek biblical word that means to cause to grow and become greater, which is exactly what our passion entails. We are all about growing you guys and helping you to create that amazing business that you dream of, that gives you whatever it is that you want in life, whether it's freedom, whether it's financial freedom, whether you want the ability to travel, to spend more time with your kids, whatever that looks like for you. Our job is to help you use social media as a vehicle or a tool to do that. But something that's a bit unique about us, and I'm actually going to share why tonight, but we're also only working now in the direct selling industry. So I know we've got a couple of people in here tonight that are not direct sellers, and that's fine. You'll still get heaps out of this session. But you'll notice that we refer to and teach specifically direct sellers, so party planners, MLMers, and network marketers. And part of the reason behind that is because we are so passionate about what this industry does for lives. And we love working with you guys because you are so mission-driven to grow your business. You're excited to grow your business and you're motivated to grow your business. So I'll tell you a little story about that tonight because I think stories are important. I also want to encourage you, follow our Facebook page, of course, because we do lots of extra teachings in there that we won't be able to share with you tonight. So if you want to get lots of extra free videos and tips and tricks and things like that, make sure you follow us. And for those of you that are unaware, we also have a podcast that's been out now for about 3 months. We just released 10 weeks, because we just released our 10th episode. And this has been so much fun. But this, again, is completely free, but it's a learning that we do every week to help you guys further. And who's listened to our podcast? Have we got any podcast listeners in here, guys? Sharon, you can be, it's okay to be behind. Just make sure that you're in there. That's all. Just keep learning one step at a time, to everything at your own pace. So who's heard our podcast? I'd love to know if we got any listeners in here now. I can get the girls, in fact, to share with you. I think they're doing it now. I can see the sticky message just came down. I think they'll actually share with you the link to the podcast. So if you'd love to listen, you'll be able to check that out. And we've done some incredible interviews actually over the last few weeks. The one that went up this week, I'm so excited by. So jump in and check that out. Listen this morning. Yay. Okay, awesome. All right. Now, another thing that's really valuable to know is that I will try not to answer questions all the way through the training today because I don't want to go too off track, which I tend to do. So what I encourage you to do is write your questions down on a piece of paper. You're going to be taking notes today, no doubt, anyway. And towards the end, I will prompt you guys to pop your questions up and I'll answer them then. Just that if you pop them in now, what will tend to happen is I may not see it because the questions kind of disappear pretty quickly. But also I may get super distracted. So I'm not ignoring you. Just post your questions at the end. And just remember, there are no silly questions. If you don't want me to, well, actually, this doesn't matter anymore because you guys can see everything. So you do get the choice, though, to privately message me if you don't want everyone to see the question that you pop up. So you do have that option now in this new system. All right. So I want to know, hey, Misa, do we have polls loaded in here yet, or have we not got that far? I'm curious. Oh, we do. Do we? Oh, okay. We've only got the one for the virtual parties. All right. I wanted the other one in. That's okay. All right. I want you guys to tell me then, in that case, you can just type your answer. I want to know, what is your current biggest Facebook challenge? I want you to jump into that chat box now, and I want you guys to tell me, what is your biggest Facebook challenge right now? Now, while you're putting that in, I want to share with you guys a story about how direct selling changed my life and why it is that I'm teaching this to you guys right now. Like I said, I feel that stories are really important. I'm going to speak to you about this a little bit later on in today's training. But I also want you to understand a little bit more about me, because I know a lot of you are fully aware that I've been teaching in this space for a very long time. But I rarely share this story. And actually, part of the reason why I rarely share this story is because it's quite sensitive. It's one that it's very close to my heart as to why I'm in this space. But I believe that sometimes those things are the things that help us to connect with each other. So I want to start this off by just prefacing by saying that we are all born with a very special gift. Each and every one of us is born with something that makes us unique and makes us stand out. But the thing is that those gifts can be wide and varied. For some of us, we might be musical, some are sporty, some of us are academic. We're all very different. And sometimes those gifts are really obvious right from when we're children. But for me, I was born with a gift that didn't seem obvious. And in fact, I didn't see it as a gift until later in my adult life. I know this will come as a great surprise to many of you, but my gift that I was born with was the gift of the gab. I know, shock, right? I can literally talk underwater with marbles in my mouth. My husband constantly jokes about it. But the truth is that for most of my life, it was something that I saw as a big flaw. I saw it as something that was a big negative about me that would never, ever get me ahead in life. In fact, I spent much of my childhood and adolescence trying my best to squash it and try to be someone else, because I really felt that the education department didn't recognize that as a gift, of course. And I was constantly told to be different. And so I did my very best to try to be someone that I wasn't. Now, I actually grew up in a small country town with my dad. So it was just the two of us from the age of 6 right through until I was 18. It was just the two of us, and we got on like a house on fire. We were two peas in a pod. We were the best of buddies. We did absolutely everything together. My dad and I'd like to I guess I like to think about it as though we kind of grew up together. We went through puberty together. We did everything. We learned to cook. We learned to live on our own. We literally just went through life together as buddies. And as much as I love my dad, though, he was one of those people that was the always struggling businessman. We all know one of them. But my dad was the guy that was always looking for the next get-rich-quick scheme in order to supplement his income, in order to fill the gap. The thing was, though, that because my dad and I were so close and I was his shoulder to lean on, he used to come home to me every night and tell me about what was going on in his world. He would unload his stresses and frustrations on me. So things like the fact that he didn't know how we were going to pay the mortgage this month or where we were going to get the money for groceries this week. And I remember vividly the day that he came home and he told me, we can't afford house insurance. And I didn't sleep for weeks worrying about what happens if our house burns down. Now, as much as I love my dad to death and we're still really close, these are things that no child should ever have to stress and worry about. And due to that, I lost a lot of my childhood and a lot of my early teenage years as well. It also meant that I wasn't able to be a kid. I wasn't able to chill out and relax. And as I got a little bit older and I hit about the age of 13, I really had a strong desire to want to get out there and do what my friends did. I really wanted to fit in. And I definitely felt like I didn't. And at that point, being a girl and, fashion was a thing. Levi jeans and Doc Martens were all the rage. All my friends had them, and I desperately, desperately wanted my own Levi jeans and Doc Martens shoes. I don't know if any of you guys remember that time, but that was a really big deal for me. But I knew that if I asked my dad for Levi jeans and Doc Martens, he would do everything he could to get them for me, but I knew it would put too much pressure on him. So I sat down with him one day and I told him it was time that I took on some financial responsibility in our family. So I told him I was going to go out and get a job. Now, my dad didn't like this very much because he wanted me to have the education that he perceived he'd never had. And so he didn't want me to go out and get a job. But what he knew that I didn't was that at 13, I wasn't legally employable yet. So he wasn't too stressed about it. And he thought he'd just leave me to my own devices and I'd figure it out soon enough. What he didn't anticipate was my determination. So I started by going out on the street and trying to sell baked goods, bread, bits and pieces. What I hadn't thought about was the fact that we had no traffic. We lived in the middle of nowhere. So of course that flopped really quickly. I then tried to rent out our spare bedroom, but there was no internet at that time. So who knew I was light years ahead of my time with the whole Airbnb thing. I could have been a millionaire. But then eventually I found this party plan company that sold cosmetics. They didn't have an age limit, so they would take me on and they would pay me based on how hard I worked. Now, this sounded like an absolute no-brainer. And what happened next for me was absolutely life-changing. Not only was I valued, was I trained, was I made to feel like a part of a community, but I also learned and started to learn and harness the fact that the gift of the gab was in fact a gift. Being able to talk to people and connect with people was something I shouldn't be ashamed of, but that I could use it in my career and in my life as I move forward. Now, with that business that I had, I very, very quickly learned to connect with people in order to create long-lasting and loyal customers. I watched a lot of consultants out there in the field as I learned that would leave sales on the table because they were so used to moving to the next sale. They were so keen to get that next sale, the next lipstick sold or whatever it was, that they left opportunities out there on the table. They didn't stop to build the relationship and get to know the person well enough to find out that, they had a sister that had just had a baby and was looking for a new career opportunity, or a child that had a skin condition that would have loved the skin oil. And they were so ready to move on to that next sale of the next lipstick or whatever it was that they lost that and missed out on it. So I built a business in 2 years that got me to one of the top 10 consultants in the state. By the time I was 16, I was receiving awards from the company, standing up on the stage, and I was being represented as one of the people to follow. But by the time I turned 18, my income had surpassed that of my dad's. I was loving life. I was also still at school and doing amazingly well. And I was feeling valued, important, all of those things that we all want to be. But at 18, Dad said to me, you need to go out now and get a real job. Unfortunately, he didn't see the value in the industry that I did until much later on in life. He's now sold just like I am, but it took him a few years. So I had to enter the rat race where I decided to further my marketing and social media career. Now, after about 15 years of working in a corporate role where I was managing one of the biggest print media companies in Australia, I then got the opportunity to step out on my own. And I saw a space where I was now trained in doing social media marketing and building relationships in that space. I was an expert in this area, but I also had an incredible passion still for the direct selling industry and the ability now to tie it all together. Now, don't get me wrong. I tried many times to step back out into the direct selling industry. I tried to start a business numerous times with different companies, but each and every time the company poached me to come and train the consultants. And because it was a conflict of interest, I had to give up my business. So eventually I settled on the fact that this is where I'm supposed to be, teaching and training and working with all of you guys to help you grow your amazing businesses. And I love every single minute of it. It means so much to me to be able to see you guys succeed by taking just that tiniest little piece of information that we can impart on you and see you get the results that you want. So this is why we're so passionate about what we do. And now we are completely an education department company in this space. So love every minute of it. Now I want to talk to you about why you guys are here today though, because I know lots of you have come for various different reasons. And for some of you guys, social media is something that you've been really holding back from for various reasons. For some of us, we feel different things, and I want to talk to you about what those barriers are, because it's one thing for me to teach you what to do, but if we don't overcome and deal with the barriers, it's very, very easy to fall back into the same patterns. So I'd like each of you to stop for a little minute as I go through these and pay a bit of attention and think about where you might sit, because if one of these is you, then I want you to acknowledge it, realize where it is, give it the attention it needs for a second, and then we can move on and we can grow. So the first thing I want to say for a lot of you guys is that you might be feeling seriously stuck right now. For some of you, social media is just simply not working. And what tends to happen when it's not working and we feel stuck is we don't do anything. We simply stay exactly where we are. For some of you guys, you want the proven steps right now because you actually don't know which way forward and you feel like you're going to be wasting precious time and in some cases money. I know for me, money is time. So I know that that can definitely be one of those things that holds me back. For some of you, it's confusion. There is seriously so much information out there. If you Google anything, you will get a million responses. And the question is, which one is right? What should I do next? On top of that, for a lot of us, we're comparing ourselves to other people out there and we think, what should I be doing? Which way should I be going? For some, it's a feeling of being left behind. Now, for those of you that have done one of my webinars before, you'll know what I'm about to ask. But I want you guys, now being that you can all see each other's comments, you can give a range if you don't feel comfortable telling us how old you are. But I'd love you to jump into that chat box right now. And I'd love you to tell us how old you are, because it's really important for all of us to see that we're not alone, number one. But I also want to kind of prove a point here. So if you can hear me okay, we might have lost you all like 15 minutes ago. But I'd love you to jump in now. I'd love you to tell me how old you are. You can keep it rough. You can give us just a gauge if you want. And we're going to have a look at what our range is here for a second. All right. So I'm watching. All right. It's interesting because ordinarily we'd have a few in their 20s. All right. So it looks like just about everyone in here tonight right now grew up in a time not only when there weren't computers at school when we were doing our learning, but also that there was no internet in our early childhood and adolescence. So let's think about it this way. A lot of our lives now are being run by social media, by apps, by technology, email, websites. Think about how much, oh, happy birthday, Margaret. think, oh, big birthday. Wow, we need to all sing happy birthday to Margaret at the end. But what I will say, guys, is most of our lives are run by technology. So you've got to ask yourselves the question, how is it that you've learned all of the things that you know? How do you know how to use a smartphone? How do you know how to use email, websites, the banking app on your phone that you do all your banking with? The truth is that most of the things that you know to run your life right now when it comes to technology are all self-taught. So the first thing I want you to do is give yourself a huge, big pat on the back, because absolutely you can learn everything you need to learn right now to master social media. I can promise you. In fact, about 15% of the people in our online courses right now are over the age of 80 and getting amazing results. So if they can do it, promise you anyone can do it. For some of us, we're feeling really nervous. I mean, the truth is, if you put yourself out there, if you put your business out there, you're putting your heart out there. What will people think? What will they think? What opinion will they form? And then on top of that, we compare ourselves and we think, well, if we're not doing as well as somebody else, will people then judge us? So this is a really big one. I know it's a big one for me, always has been. And another is the fact that for just so many of us, we just want more. We want more leads, we want more sales, more customers, all of those things. So my question to you now, and I want you guys to tell me, does any of this right now sound like you? Is any of this familiar? Do any of these things kind of ring a bit of a bell, or am I totally off the mark? And if I am, that's okay. Just tell me, no, none of those things are me. But I'd like to know, does some of those things sound a little bit familiar for you right now? Now, I want to let you in on a little bit of information here, a bit of game-changing information. Being successful on Facebook is not about the number of fans and followers. It's not about the number of people that like your post. It's not about the number of people that even connect with you. Being successful on Facebook means that you are generating business even when you're not at work, and you're constantly engaging the customers, wait for it, that value you the most. We don't want you to waste time trying to please people that are not your ideal and perfect customers. And when you get that right, Facebook will become your most powerful secret weapon. And guess what? It is not that hard. It's not that hard. And I'm going to help you guys to simplify that today. So I want to give you guys a few really quick numbers. I got this little fly in my face. Sorry. I'm going to swallow it if I'm not careful. Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I had a fly. We've had a lot of flies in here. We're out in the shed. This is my recording studio in the shed. And we had a fly in here the other day, and it kept, while I was on the webinar, it kept flying past the camera. But because it was flying really close to the camera, it looked like a plane kept flying in front of my face. Anyway, we'll move on because I know that's not why you're here. So 24.7 million are the number is the current Australian population. 15 million are the number of Facebook profiles currently in Australia that are getting used every single day. So that's 6 in 10 people right now that you pass in the street that use their Facebook feed at least once every day. And that includes infants and seniors. So that's 6 in 10 of the people you pass in the street that use Facebook daily. 2.38 billion are the number of Facebook profiles worldwide, and 1.43 billion of those use their feeds at least once every day, with 70% of them refreshing their Facebook feed somewhere between 8 and 12 times every day with an average visit time of 20 minutes. Now, get this. These stats were recorded at the beginning of this year. These stats have significantly changed since everybody has been in isolation. In fact, Facebook recorded an increase of over 600% in increase of video views over the last month. So this is a massive amount of potential exposure, if only we can get their attention. And herein lies the problem for so many of us. So I want to ask you guys a question now. Who's heard of and is familiar with the Facebook algorithm? Because I'd like to explain it to those of you that want to know a little bit more about it. If not, we'll keep going, because some of you guys might be saying, nope, I know all about it. I've heard Sam explain this before. But we need to understand this in order for us to get better at our social media, in order for us to get what I'm about to teach you. So jump in, give me a little heads up. I want to know who's familiar with the Facebook algorithm. I know some of you guys have heard me talk about this lots of times, but it is, in fact, one of my favorite things to talk about, because it's complex. So I'll explain it to you guys in a simplified way. All right. I'll keep it really basic. So about 5-6 years ago, Facebook recognized that it was becoming a very busy place. Businesses were starting to seriously spam Facebook with posts about products, services, business opportunities, and people were starting to tune out of Facebook. So what it decided to do was, so that it didn't lose all of its users and flop, it decided to adapt and become smarter. So it brought into play a program that operates in the background of Facebook called the algorithm. This program is designed to learn everything there is to learn about each and every one of you. It learns things like what websites you go to outside of Facebook. It learns what sort of language you use. And I don't mean English or Chinese. I mean the sorts of words you use in your common vocabulary. It learns who you connect with, what sort of conversations you have with those people. It learns things like what you're interested in, what magazines you read, what TV shows you watch, even things like what car you drive, what your household income is, and what your family looks like, how many kids you have, and how old they are. It then takes all of this information and it uses it to deliver you more of the content it knows you want to see, with the intention of keeping you on the platform for longer and more frequently. So basically, your Facebook feed is customized to you like a fingerprint. It's for you and you alone, and there are no two the same. Have you ever noticed before when something happens, like you get engaged or you fall pregnant or you have your first baby or it's your birthday, suddenly you start getting delivered these very specific messages on Facebook and you wonder why? This is all because the algorithm knows so much about you. It knows exactly what you want to see and when, and it makes sure that that's what's delivered to you. Now, here's the challenge. As a business, we are so programmed into telling people what we want them to hear in order to get them to do what we want them to do. So here's my product. I want you to book a party with me. Or here's my business. I want you to contact me. The trouble is that when we do things like that, it's not considered valuable or interesting to the end user. And so Facebook simply doesn't show it to people. So we're left sitting here listening to crickets chirping, wondering why none of our posts are getting reach or engagement, when in actual fact, Facebook's saying you haven't got it yet. You're not delivering stuff that they care about, so we're just not going to show it to them. So my question to you is, does any of that sound a bit familiar for some of you guys? Is it starting to, you're getting a couple of aha moments? Even some of you that might have heard that before, you're probably thinking, yeah, I know I've heard it, still probably not paying enough attention to it, and I'm seeing that in my results. So let's have a bit of a look at what Facebook is actually for. Facebook was originally created in order for people to connect. It was created to inspire people, to engage people, and above all, it was created to entertain people. This means that above all, we need to be entertaining. If we want Facebook to deliver our stuff to people, we need to give Facebook what it wants in order to keep people on the platform. Something else that is very important to note right now is that Facebook's focus at the moment is trust. It wants people to trust it, therefore it needs people to trust you. So the thing is that if you deliver stuff on Facebook that makes Facebook look bad, it's not likely to show it to anybody. It wants people to feel better when they leave the platform than they did when they came in, and it will do anything to make that happen. So if we can focus on how to build trust with people, remembering that people buy from people that they like, know, and trust. They don't buy from businesses that they have no connection to. Even those that they perceive they've never come into contact with, you will be surprised at how much they have in fact come in contact with a business before they actually make any kind of a buying decision with them, even if they're not consciously aware of it. We won't get into that too much today, but there's a lot of really cool stuff that goes on in the background to help people build trust, even if you don't have a direct connection with them. So let's have a bit of a look now at the Facebook growth formula. Because I know a lot of you guys are thinking, all right, I've got a personal profile. Should I have a business page? Or I have a business page? Should I have a group? And my answer to all of you guys is, if you are serious about your business, if you want to succeed with your business and grow it, and you want to use social media for all of the incredible tools it's got to offer you, then you need all three. Now, something that I want to just point out before we move on, and that is that I would never, ever in a million years tell you that social media should ever replace one-on-one human contact and interaction. Never, ever. The thing is, human contact is always going to be more powerful than connecting with someone via Messenger or your Facebook page. If you've got an opportunity to do a party or to pick the phone up or have a coffee with someone, you should still always take that opportunity. Where Facebook and social media in general is really powerful is where it can help you make new connections that before you didn't have an opportunity to make. And on top of that, it can help you further nurture people that previously you might have had trouble getting in communication with in a gentle way that doesn't feel too over the top. Social media gives you an amazing ability to be able to gently nurture, gently build relationships without fully spamming people. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today. But what I encourage you to do is to have all three of these in the long run. However, take it at your own pace. You want to take one little step at a time, and each step should be at your pace that you're comfortable with. So let's just talk about what each of these are really quickly. A personal profile is what you set up when you first join Facebook. It's where you connect with your family and friends. You invite them to be your friend or vice versa. They accept your friend request, and then suddenly you can see each other's information. That's where you share posts about what you do in life, what goes on for you in your everyday. That is not a place to be actively doing business. It doesn't mean we can't promote our business in there. It means we've got to be careful and mindful about how we do it. It's a very fine line to walk with our family and friends because they don't connect with us to be spammed and vomited all over about our business. They've connected with us because they love us and they want to hear more about what we're doing in life. So we must be really careful about how we use our personal profile to promote our business. A business page is that. It's where you can actively promote your business. And there are some amazing tools in a business page you cannot access through your personal profile. Things like scheduling, boosting, adverts. You can see insights, all sorts of amazing, powerful tools that you simply can't get through a personal profile. And they are game-changing when it comes to growing your business. A group page is where you create a community. Now, there are 3 different types of group pages you could set up that are going to work really well in the network marketing business. They could be a customer VIP group. It could be a team or downline group where you educate and train your team and motivate them and all of those wonderful things. Or it could be a special interest group where you create a group based on a special interest where you know you're likely to attract your ideal customers. So these are the 3 different types of pages that you can have set up. And in the long run, when you're ready, all 3 of these are going to be very powerful for the growth of your business in different ways and for different purposes. So let's talk to you today about how to beat that algorithm, because we want to be able to beat it. We want to be able to reach our perfect customers, and we want to be able to generate leads outside of our existing network, right? That's why all you guys are here. So let's talk about how to beat that algorithm, because I know lots of you guys are going, all right, what next? So let's talk about it. Now, a lot of these things are going to be relevant predominantly to a business page. This is where, when you are running a business on social media, you should be spending most of your time. So most of these things will be relevant there. The first is you need to be consistent or you'll be non-existent. What I mean by this is you need to be prepared to post frequently. So how often should you be posting? The average number of times you should be posting per week on Facebook is 5 to 7 times a week. Now, when you post 5 to 7 times a week on Facebook, this is where people start going, oh my gosh, what am I going to post next? I can't post that many times. Or maybe you're someone who's already posting 20 times a week and you're like, that's a cinch. Well, let me tell you something. If you're posting more frequently than 5 to 7 times a week, I suggest you stop, you think, because if you are not getting the results right now, there could be a good reason for it. And it's highly likely you're not hitting the mark. Often what I see happens is when people post lots of times a week, they're not being strategic. They're not planning their content out, and they're not thinking about what the customer wants to see. They're only posting what they want on a whim. So it's much better for you in the long run if you stop once a week, you plan out your 5 to 7 posts for that week, and you make them good quality posts that are going to get you the results that you want to be achieving. So be consistent or you will be non-existent. By the way, if you're only posting 1 or 2 times a week, you are wasting your time. The thing that people will ask me when I put this bit of information out is usually, if I post 5 to 7 times a week, will I be spamming and annoying people? And the answer to that is definitely not. The truth is that every time you post, only approximately 6% of your fans and followers will ever see anything you put up if you do an amazing job. If you do a terrible job, you'll get less than 1% of your fans and followers delivered that post. Based on how those people interact, then tells Facebook how many more people it should deliver that post to. So it's kind of a snowball effect. This means you need to be seriously focused on providing amazing content that provides great value. That way, Facebook will push it out to more and more people. Have a little look at the post we put up this afternoon. You'll notice that as soon as we got a few comments on it, it just went further and further and further. And we certainly have paid no money to have that post delivered anywhere. And it's one of the posts I'm going to give you as an example today to show you how to use a particular lead generating technique that I'm going to teach you guys. So the next one here, some of you have heard me harp on about this a lot, but I'm going to really drill this one in today. You need to know who you're talking to. Now, I don't just mean, randomly, it's a female, she's aged between 20 and 60, and she lives in Australia. You guys need to know as much as you can possibly know about your perfect customer. Let me ask you guys this. I want you to tell me in that chat box right now, how many of you have done an exercise where you've identified your avatar or your target customer? How many of you guys have done an exercise where you've actually looked at who your perfect customer would be? You know what they're interested in, you know what sort of things they want to see, etc. Give me a little heads up. I want to know who's done this homework. Now, for all of you in my Quick Start course, I would expect that you have done this for sure. So guys, what I want to encourage you guys to do right now is think about the fact that Facebook knows everything there is to know about your ideal customer. They know everything. They know what they're interested in. They know what they do for a living, and they know what they want to see. So the thing is that in order for you to deliver great content to your perfect customer, you also need to know all of those things. Now, the clincher here is that Facebook actually helps us to get that information about them. So we don't have to guess. We can use Facebook to help us. But for some of you, you already know who this is, even if you don't think you do. The truth is that your ideal customer is generally the person that you naturally connect to the best. And they're always the person that you love working with. They're the people that value you the most and that you value in return. So when you work this out, when you know who your perfect customer is, there are 2 questions you need to ask yourself about that perfect customer that are going to formulate every piece of content you put out there on social media. So once you've identified them, you want to ask yourself these 2 questions. So you guys are ready for what those are? I want you to write them down because these will formulate every piece of content, every post you ever put up. The first question you want to ask about your perfect customer is this: what keeps them up at night? Which means, what stresses them out in life? What bothers them? What frustrates them? What problems do they want to solve? So what keeps them up at night? The other question you want to ask yourself about your perfect customer is what gets them up in the morning? This means what gets them excited in life? What do they value? What are they interested in? What do they want to do on a weekend? What do they aspire to? What are their dreams and visions? So what keeps them up at night and what gets them up in the morning? When you know the answer to these 2 questions, you're able to then formulate the content you put out there on Facebook to either improve their life or reduce their pain, to solve a problem or tap into the things they love and they're most interested in. This is the key to being successful on Facebook. I know it sounds really silly, simple, but the truth is that when we crack that code for our ideal customers, everything else falls into place and your business, I promise you, will skyrocket on social media. Do you know that natural influencers on Facebook are simply people that have cracked this code? They're simply providing value. They're providing stuff that their fans and followers love. And all of you guys have got everything you need, every ability right now to do exactly the same thing. It might just take a little bit of thinking and work to work out what that is. The next thing is to note that the best way for you to sell is actually not to sell. Do you notice that the people that you follow the most on social media, even the business pages, are the ones that simply provide you value? They're the ones that you feel are constantly providing you something rather than asking you to give them something. So the best way for you to be selling is to be thinking about, what information have I got in my head? And for lots of you guys, that stuff about your products and services. You know, if you're in essential oils, for example, you've got an amazing amount of knowledge about what those essential oils can do for people's health. If you're a Juice Plus person, you've got so much information about health, about the body, about fitness, about how we can take care of ourselves and our immune systems right now. No matter what company you're with, no matter what you do, you've got knowledge in your head that your customers, your fans, your followers would love to hear about. So remember that the best way to sell is actually not to sell. Now, here's the trick to it all. Be conversational. You want to make sure in the content you put out there on social media that you ask people to interact with you, that you don't do all the talking. Don't fall into the trap of being a broadcaster, because when you're a broadcaster, people don't feel like there is any reason for them to interact. So ask the odd question, ask people every now and again to get involved and tell you something. And you'll notice that your engagement picks up really quickly. And we do a lot of examples of that to show you how to do it on our Facebook page. So if you get in there and check it out, you'll notice that most of the content we do is more about you and you interacting with us than it is about us telling you something. Also, remember to utilize video. Facebook actually favors video. So the more you use it, the more reach and engagement you're likely to get. Now, I know this can be a little bit scary, but there's loads of ways you can use and incorporate video. So keep that one in mind. And here's a big one. Tell your why. Remember what I said, people buy from people that they like, know, and trust. And let me ask you this question. I shared with you a story today about why I'm passionate about the direct selling industry. So let me ask you, did you feel a little bit more connected to me? Did it make a little bit more sense for you? Do you feel maybe like I get Sam a little bit better now that she's shared that information with me? Even if you're someone who's known me for a really long time, how did telling that story make you feel? And then ask yourself this question. Is my story important? Because I can give you that answer right now. Your story is more important than you understand. Do you know that I thought for many years that my story was so boring, so unimportant that I didn't want to share it with anybody because I thought no one would care? My coach and my husband pushed me for years to tell people that story. And the day I started to tell people, people started to connect with me on a level that I'd never allowed them to connect with me on before. It showed them why I was passionate. And guess what? People relate to your passion. They relate to why it is that you do what you do. If they think you're in it just to make money, if they think you're in it just for a quick fix, they're not going to connect with you. And you all have a story. It might be a life-changing story, or it could just be a story as to why you might be passionate about the product or about the business. So whether you think it's important or not, it is, and it will help people to connect with you. So definitely share your why. And it can be done in loads of different ways. So let me tell you guys something now about the things you shouldn't be doing, because this is where people go seriously wrong. The first is, and I'm hoping no one in here does this today, but we might have a couple, please don't share Google images. What I mean by this is, don't go to Google, search for a word. Let's say you want to share a picture of a puppy. You Google puppy, you find a picture, you copy it, and you paste it into your posts on Facebook, and you hit go. When you do that, number one, that image doesn't belong to you. It's technically theft. But the other thing is that when you share that image, when you take an image off another website, you copy it and you paste it into another, you're reducing the quality of the image. So what will happen is that it will be often pixelated, it won't be optimized for Facebook, and it will be all cut off. So your feed will look really unprofessional. The other thing that you shouldn't do if you want to get good reach is to share a post from Instagram to Facebook. Do we have anyone in here that does this? You can, and let me just clarify, you can connect your Facebook and your Instagram feed together. That's a really great way for keeping things organized. But when you put a post on Instagram, it'll give you a choice to hit that button to say, yes, I want to post this post to Facebook as well. Now, when you hit that button, what you're actually doing is you're instantly going to lose around about 30% of your potential reach. The reason for this is because Facebook owns both Facebook and Instagram. It knows that you didn't create that post for its platform. So you didn't customize it for its fans and followers, and you didn't think about the things that you should or shouldn't post on Facebook. Meaning, if you did any @ mentions on Instagram, they won't carry across and you'll have ugly looking links on there that don't work. Plus, it's likely you'll have also used hashtags, and hashtags on Facebook are a big no-no. When you use a hashtag on Facebook, it gets picked up by the algorithm as spammy, and it tends to hide that post from many of your potential reach. So using hashtags, they were actually originally created for Instagram and Twitter, so they were never intended for Facebook use. There are a couple of instances where using hashtags on Facebook can be of benefit, but most of the time it is completely to be avoided. So something to keep in mind. The other thing you want to note is that if you're going to run a competition on Facebook, you need to follow the competition rules. This is so important. It is against Facebook's rules of use. I'm about to freak some of you guys out because you're thinking, I know so many people that do this, but it's against Facebook's rules of use to ask anybody to tag or share to win. Now, I've seen lots of pages get shut down for doing this, and you don't want to be one of them. So don't do it. There are loads of great ways you can run competitions legally without getting into trouble. We do, for those of you in our Quick Start course, we've got a cheat sheet for you guys on all of the clever ways you can run a competition, and we've got a copy of the exact Facebook rules for you as well. And I can promise you, we get as many, if not more people interacting with our competitions than we used to, and we don't breach any of the rules. The other thing you got to be a bit careful of doing, remember I said that Facebook's full focus is on building trust. The thing you've got to be careful about is identifying negative aspects of an individual. So what this means is if you want to sell a product or you want to promote your business, you can't point out something that's negative about that person in order to get them to pay attention. So for example, if you are a Thermomix consultant, you can't say, are you sick and tired of the 9 to 5 and not having enough time to feed your family without being stressed? Have you had enough of getting stressed and having to race around and cook dinner and being a slave to the stove every night? You can't, if you are with a health company, say, are you sick of feeling overweight and lethargic and you just want your energy back? Well, I've got a solution for you. What you can do is you can point out the positive what you can help someone achieve. So in other words, you can uplift, you can make people feel even better about life. And if you do that, you aren't breaching Facebook's rules. So an example of that is, if we use those two examples I just gave, if you're with Thermomix, you can say, would you love to be able to cook a healthy, quick dinner whilst being more present, spending more time with your family and not being stuck at the stove every night? Or if you're with a health company, you could say, would you love to shed some kilos and feel energetic and bounce out of bed every day? Well, we can help you with that. So you can see how I switched it around from pointing out the negative aspect of somebody to pointing out the positive aspect that can be achieved instead. So these are some things to be mindful if you want to reach more people. Now let's talk about how we can put all of this together to help you guys generate some fresh leads on social media, because there's some techniques in here that you're going to love that are going to help you guys make new connections and build new relationships. So keep in mind, and I'm pretty sure I've probably made a big point of this so far, but the secret to the ultimate Facebook success is just simply figuring out how you can provide value to your customer. All right. Now, the more value you can provide in this next step, the better it's going to work for you. So let's talk now about some lead generating posts that you can put up on Facebook where you don't have to pay any money at all, that are going to get people coming to you to ask more. Now, there's a little trick here. The first is, the less information you give someone and the more intriguing you make it sound, the more likely it is that they're going to come to you for more information. If you tell everyone everything that they need to know, they're less likely to come to you because they've got nothing left to ask. So what we do, and one of the techniques we use to generate leads, is to dangle what we call a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something that you know would be of value and of interest to your target customer, that you can dangle to them and say, hey, I'll give this to you in exchange for either contact information or simply a message. This is a great way to open up that communication. Generally speaking, it's not okay for you to step out of your page and message someone you've never had contact with. People don't appreciate it and it kind of feels really spammy. But if someone's come to you and said, I'd love that piece of information, I'd love that lead magnet you've just put out there, then they're inviting you to have a conversation with them. It also tells you a little bit about them. So let me give you some example of what a lead magnet could be for you. By the way, you can create a lead magnet that looks beautiful if you want to on something like Canva, which is a completely free application. I love it, and it's super, super handy to use and easy to use even if you've had no experience. So a lead magnet could be as simple as a recipe. It could be a food recipe. It could be an oil recipe. It could be a makeup or a body product recipe. A recipe is a great lead magnet. Another one is a cheat sheet or a how-to. It could be the 5-minute face, how to have the most beautiful looking makeup in 5 minutes. It could be how to give yourself a facial in 5 minutes, to treat yourself for Mother's Day. It could be how to make a beautiful gift for someone. You saw the face scrub recipe I just put up. There are loads of different ways. If you're with Norwex or Enyo, it could be, how to create a completely natural cleaning product or how to clean your windows in 30 seconds. I saw a great one on that, by the way, the other day, which had me. It could be a call or a session. And we got some posty consultants in here that have been doing some, what do you do? Like your dressing calls where you can actually dress somebody, a wardrobe makeover. So you could be offering a call or a session for free. Could be a free sample. This one goes off. If any of you guys are with a company where you can offer a free sample, this one generally gets loads of take up. And it, of course, it qualifies the person because they asked for a sample, then they're likely to be interested in whatever the sample is of. And the next one is solving a problem, filling a need, or just providing value of some description. So I want to show you some examples of some different lead magnets that have been used in across different businesses. And some of these are posts I've seen some of our quick start consultants have been doing that are brilliant, and some are ones that we've done on our page just to give you a bit of inspiration. This one here I loved because the way that Tani did this, she not only put out there a bit of information about the lead magnet, which was essentially if you know someone in the community that would love to get their hands on this rescue gel and you'd like to provide them a bit of love, please nominate them in the comments below. But what she also did was she used the opportunity without being self-promotional, by the way, to tell you a bit about the product. So she was providing value. And honestly, when I read this, I was more interested in reading about the product because it was a lead magnet, because she was providing beautiful value, and it made me want the product. So she did such a beautiful job of this, and nowhere in here was she being self-promotional. So naturally, the algorithm doesn't pick it up as being spammy and it delivers it to more people. And of course, when anybody comments, she then earns the right to be able to touch base with that person privately and continue the conversation. Here's one that we put up on our page, a business shout out. We wanted people to share below their page so that people could like each other's pages. Now, this naturally helps us to open up the conversation with people that are likely to be our ideal customer. So it helped us to not only help them and provide them value, but also to connect with them on a more personal level. Here's one I love by Christine. Christine Drummond is with Juice Plus, and she does some brilliant lead generation posts. She does them weekly, and all of them get me every time because they're all these beautiful recipes. So what she does is she dangles the carrot. She doesn't give you too much information. She simply knows and is fully aware of what her ideal customers love and what's important to them, which is dairy-free, gluten-free, delicious, nutritious, all of those things. And then she simply says, who wants the recipe? Now, can I tell you, and you can see here, this post was only about a week old when I took the screen grab, and it had 153 comments. What she then does is she privately messages each and every person with the recipe. So this opens the communication up. And of course, she'll ask a question to get to know them a little bit better. She's told me in an interview recently just how powerful this has been for growing her business and how many customers have come out of this process. What does she do next? She nurtures. This is the key to lead generation. She nurtures. Now, you'll notice there was a post that went up on our Facebook feed this afternoon. I told you guys about this at the very start. This one not only was about providing you guys value and supporting each and every one of you, but it was also about generating leads. Because as you qualify yourself in there, I'm able to privately connect with you and further build a relationship with you. So this alone was a lead generating post. There's loads of things that you can do with lead generating posts, including, and this one's a little bit more on the tricky side, a little bit more advanced, but this works just as well. You can also create what we call a landing page. Now, a landing page is when you post a link. So any of those lead magnets I've just told you about, you could pop in as a post on your Facebook feed, but instead of messaging somebody, what you could do is create a link. Now, we do this a lot. Every time you register for one of our webinars, you'll notice that you enter your information. So we're essentially exchanging a free webinar for your contact info. This allows us to further nurture and work with you, even if you're not in any of our courses yet. But you can do this with any lead magnet. You'll notice we've got loads of cheat sheets on our website. So people can click on any of those cheat sheets. They simply get the pop-up box where they enter their email address, their first and last name, hit I'm in. We then get their information and you guys get the freebies. So we're exchanging information. I'll give you something that you want. You give me something I want. And you guys can do this in any way, shape, or form. It could be that you want their contact information. It could be that you want to know something about them. Or it could simply be that you want to start a dialogue in Messenger. So it's about providing something to receive something. And it's not complicated. Just think about what could you put out there. Now, remember that these things don't necessarily work the very first time you do it. A lot of it is about persistence and being consistent with what you're doing. But I had a phone call with somebody the other day who said to me, she started doing this about 3 months ago and I taught it at a conference she was at. She said that she started putting out little recipes and things. And she said it just wasn't hitting the mark. She kept learning. She kept being consistent and persistent with it. Now, when she puts something out there, she knows what her fans and followers seem to connect to. And she said that each and every time she puts one of those posts out, she generates about 20 comments, 20 new connections. And each and every time she'll get at least 1 or 2 new customers. She said all it took was being persistent. She does it once every single week. And sometimes it fails. Sometimes it goes crazy and she gets customers. So you've just got to remember the key to all of this is it's about nurturing. If you get to know what your customers, your fans and followers want most, and you're out to provide them with value, then I can promise you in the long run, you absolutely will nail it. But make the focus not to sell right now. Make the focus providing value, and people will appreciate that, and it will absolutely come around and work for you. So guys, I've got a little question for you. Some of you I know have been doing our quick start before, and we're about to dive in and do some Q&A now. But for those of you that have never been in any of our courses, how keen are you guys to learn a little bit more from us? I would love if you feel like you can connect with me, if you feel like you'd like to learn a little bit more from me, we'd love to welcome you on into our Oxana family, and we would love to offer you an opportunity to do some further learning. I want to take just a couple of really quick minutes to tell you about an awesome offer to join our Quick Start family and tell you a little bit about our online course. So I want to explain what Quick Start is, and then we're going to go into our Q&A. So Social Media Quick Start 2020 has only recently been re-recorded. And in fact, we added, for those of you that are in there, a brand new module today on a Facebook update that's only just been rolled out. So we do keep it completely up to date. And the purpose of Quick Start is that you get an online login to do at your own pace. I noticed someone in here said earlier, I like to do short little trainings of 20 to 30 minutes each. Well, you're in luck, because the way we've created Quick Start is that we've put in there 25 modules of between 15 and 30 minutes, so you can do them all at your own pace. You can do them at any time of the day or night. You can pause them, stop them, rewatch them. You can work along with them, because a lot of it is follow me along. So the purpose of this is help you get back to doing the things you love most, while showing you exactly what to do on social media to get amazing results. This is a testimonial from Ange, who is with Norwex. and has been doing our course has been doing our course for, since March this year. And she already, look at these results she was getting just by applying some of the very things I've just taught you guys today. Like I said, if you don't want to spend the money and do learning with us, that's still okay, guys. I still want to be able to work with you and help you. But if you are really serious about your social media and you do want to take it to the next step, this is the sort of thing that can be achieved. And we would love to help you through that process. So what we do with the modules is, like I said, they're broken down into around 25 modules of short periods. The first set of those modules covers all the foundational stuff. So how to set up your business page, your groups, even how to brand yourself. Then in the next set of modules, we cover off on everything strategy. So planning and scheduling, how to identify your perfect customer, even what you need to post, how to self-promote effectively, and we give you a bunch of templates so you can literally copy us. In fact, we've got one template that we released to everyone recently that is 100 content or post ideas. So you never have to think about what to post next. Remember I said earlier tonight about engagement posts? Well, that document in there has got a bunch of questions you can ask your fans and followers to get them to engage with you, plus a whole lot of ideas for lead magnets. So 100 different post ideas. You just literally download it, print it off, and you've got it right there ready. We also cover off on everything about creating content. Some of us, me included, are not natural at designing things. Me getting creative means cooking, not creating some beautiful looking post. So I have made it my mission in life to find every hack, cheat, trick in the book to come up with beautiful looking professional posts that engage people every time. And I share all of those cheats with you in the Quick Start course. So you too can also be a pro when it comes to designing beautiful posts. In addition to that, we cover off on everything video, from Facebook Live to recorded to some really clever apps that are completely free and will save you tons of time and have you doing beautiful video in no time. So what's included in Quick Start? You'll get all of those modules we've just covered off on, plus you get private membership to a private Facebook support group where you can ask questions from myself, the team, and the rest of our community at any time during the course. We also give you all of those done for you templates and cheat sheets, as well as the secrets behind a perfect Facebook page and a Facebook group. So, guys, by the way, I've got a little special gift download I'm going to offer all of you guys today that are on the call. So hang in and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a sec. But just before we do, we've got a really awesome offer for those of you that would love to join our family. We'd love to have you in with us. The girls are going to share the offer with you now. There's a little tab in this new platform we use called Offers. And we're going to pop this in there for you guys so you can click on that and you'll be away. And in there, you'll get two options. Option one is to pay an upfront payment to get everything I've just covered off on, no extra charges of any sort. Will be $349 and you get all of the modules, all of the bonuses in there. Or if you want to, you can do our payment plan, which means you get the training immediately, but only an upfront payment of $59 and then 6 weekly payments of $59. So it breaks it right down, makes cash flow a little bit easier for you. For everyone that signs up today as well, you're also going to get for free our Instagram Quick Start. So for those of you that want to learn a little bit more about how to do Instagram, we're going to give you that as a bonus training at no extra charge. And for those of you that have never set up a business page before, we're also going to give you guys access to a training on how to set your business page up completely from scratch, assuming you've got no knowledge whatsoever. Now, I also just want to remind you that we give you support all the way through. Although the training is pre-recorded and you can do it at any time you like just by logging into the portal, you will get support from us. So we've got a group there where you can message us with your questions at any time of day or night. Our team is in there once every day. I jump in there each day and we respond to those questions. You'll also get access to email us. And on top of that, you'll get an induction call by Rachel, who will walk you through how to use the online portal and make sure you've found your way around. So we want to make sure that you guys get in there and you actually do that training and get the results. So just to reiterate, you've got either the $349 or the $59. We'd love those of you that haven't done our training before to jump in and join us. On top of that, I just want to remind you as well, we do have a double your money back guarantee. So we know that this course gets results. If you do the training, you absolutely will see the results from it. And we back that so much. And seriously, we have put blood, sweat, and tears into this training that if you don't get the results from it, we won't just give your money back, we will double your money back. So we know it works, guys. Now, I want to jump in and do some questions now. I know I've got a few of you guys that have been asking a few bits and pieces. I've kind of been looking, I'm trying to focus on what we were teaching here. But what I'll do is I'm just going to pull this across right now so I can see your questions. So I'm going to pull this over here. So if you guys can now, if you do have any questions that you want answered, please jump on in, ask them now. I would love to have a further chat with you, give you some extra support and assistance. Even those of you that are in our course at the moment, if you want to use the opportunity to have a bit of a chat, you are most welcome to. So, cool. I'm just going back here to see if we do have any questions. So hold on a little sec. I know there are a couple that were tagged as Qs earlier. No, not sure that there are. Maybe you guys have just had all your questions answered. This is so unusual. Oh, Beth, it's so awesome. Oh, by the way, if anyone is joining the course, I want you guys to jump on in and tell me. I'd like to know who's joining our family with us tonight. It's also always so exciting to see new people coming on board that we get to work with. So jump on in. Let us know if you're going to be joining us. We'd love to know. And I'm so glad that you're enjoying the training, Beth. We did pop a new little module in today. So when you get to that, be keen to know what you think. Katie, if you're still in here, I will just let you know as well, we definitely created shorter 20-minute blocks for the online course for that exact purpose, where you can pause, go back, stop, start, all that sort of gear. So, yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and that is exactly why we've created the training that way. Cool. All right. Well, here we go. Okay. Instead of hashtags, can you add your web page from Janice? Okay. Good question. So a couple of things. So when you can definitely add, you can put a link to your website for sure. Links to websites are something that you can do every now and again, but you don't want to do them too often, because remember that when you put up a link to a website, you're essentially taking everybody. I'm just going to turn the screen share off. Okay. So when you put a link to your website, you're essentially taking people away from Facebook. Now, there's two problems there. Number one, you're interrupting people's pattern of behavior, which subconsciously most people don't like. The other thing is that you're taking people away from Facebook, and naturally Facebook doesn't like that. So although sending people to your webpage is a good thing to do every so often, you don't want to do it too much, because you will find that those posts don't get delivered to as many people. So you got to be a little bit cautious about that. Gay, once you sign up, there are other modules you have to pay more for? No. So when you go into Quick Start, we've got people that are in Quick Start and have been in there for 5 years. Well, not in Quick Start. They're in our boot camp training. We updated the boot camp training into Quick Start this year. So we update it each year. Once you're in Quick Start, you get that training. We don't unlock things if you pay for them. We definitely release new trainings all of the time. And if you want to do those new trainings, then, you know, you can definitely pay to do those, but they will be different. So the Quick Start training is everything you need to know to get Facebook to work for your business. And then we might release like a special training. So for example, we're working on a training now for virtual parties. And we also potentially have a training in the wings on boosts and adverts, which is a little bit more on the advanced side of things. So although we create new things all of the time, once you're in Quick Start, you get everything you need in there, and we don't charge you any extra for any of the modules within that. But yeah, look, we're always releasing new stuff though. Okay, where are we up to? So answered the web page one. Janice, if I didn't answer that question properly, by the way, or Gay, just let me know if you've got another question. I'd be happy to answer it for you. And Aniko, is it Aniko? Is it the same rule for stories as well? I always post my stories on Facebook from Insta. Is that a no-no? Stories are a little bit different. Stories are one of those things that you post kind of frequently, and Facebook's algorithm doesn't work quite the same way. It actually wants to encourage people to use stories in any which way they do it. So at the moment, it's perfectly okay to share across, although I think you'll find you probably still get a greater reach by posting organically to Facebook. So just remember, it doesn't take very long to save the image to your phone, go out of Instagram, go into Facebook and post it there. If you really don't have the time, it's no biggie on stories, but you will get more reach regardless for everything that you post organically to that platform. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Let me know if you want me to cover it off a little bit more. But Janita, I had some issues and missed all the lead magnets. Could you pop that screen back up, please? How about, Janita, we're going to send out the recording. I'm having a bit of trouble navigating my way around this new platform at the moment. What I'll get you to do, we'll send you the recording out, so you'll actually be able to fast forward and see it there, and you'll be able to screen grab them from there. Hopefully that's okay. Cool. All right. And Gay, do let me know if you want me to clarify any of that, but the answer to that is no, you don't. Okay. I think so far that's all the questions we've got in, guys. So I am going to let you all have an amazing night. Make sure we would love to have you guys jump in and join us if you're not already in Quick Start. I know lots of you are, and thank you for joining us tonight. I hope you've all learned plenty from the session. But for those of you that are joining us, welcome on in. We can't wait to touch base with you. And guys, we're going to be doing another training next week on virtual parties. So if you missed that training, I believe we're doing it on Thursday lunchtime. So jump on in, join us for that one. It's been really popular and it's gone so well. And we've been having a lot of fun delivering that one. By the way, if you have enjoyed any of our webinars, please don't forget to review us as well on our Facebook page. We would love that feedback. But definitely jump on into that virtual party webinar next week. Make sure you check out our Facebook page to keep up to date with the dates we've got coming up, as well as, of course, our podcast. So guys, have an amazing night. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. God bless, and we will speak to many of you again very soon. Bye.